Welcome to the Introduction to Open Science. By taking this course, you are joining a vibrant community motivated to share scientific knowledge as broadly as possible. Let's define what we mean with open science. The concept of open science has been used with different definitions, and in this course, we define it as the dissemination of scientific knowledge that is as wide as possible, free of charge to all users, and accessible online. In this video, we will first provide you with some information about the history of open science, followed by some examples of where the field is today. Underlying the open science movement is the ideal of sharing knowledge as broadly as possible. This ideal actually has a long history. Efforts for knowledge sharing between scholars are present throughout history. For example, in the 10th century, Islamic scholars already worked on developing an encyclopedia. In a Western context, the 17th century marks an important time where scientists began to produce and share scientific information. Up until that time, scientists had unstable and solitary careers, and publication had the form of secretive anagrams. Later on, scientists joined forces in academies, and, thanks to the development of the printing press, these academies start to publish the first scientific journals, taking important steps toward the broad dissemination of knowledge. Moreover, during this period, scholars shared knowledge through an extensive network of letter writing, called the Republic of Letters. This network was not only open to elite male scientists, but included both men and women from a range of countries, social classes, and religions who wanted to share scientific knowledge. While these scholars came mostly from Europe, it also included Americans, such as Benjamin Franklin. Among them was Italian apothecary Camilla Herculani, whose ideas about the Bible, astrology, and meteorology circulated from Italy across Poland. The ideal of sharing knowledge that developed within this network of letter writers also underlie the current open science movement. According to cultural historian Peter Berg, today we are still part of the Republic of Letters. Dirk van Meert, historian and expert on the Republic of Letters, explains it well when he says, and I paraphrase, that scholars spend so much time of their work writing emails to each other, and they strongly support open and use open access resources such as Google Books. We've seen that the ideals underlying open science have a long history. Nevertheless, the open science movement has received a great booster thanks to what scholars name the digital turn. The emergence of the internet and of information technology has made it easier and faster for scholars from all over the world to connect, and also to spread the outcomes of scientific results through preprint service and online archives. Even if at times hindered by the action of big commercial publishers, these developments have greatly increased the scale and the speed of this push toward openness, developing further the open science movement. So, now that you've learned a bit more about the history of open science, let's talk about open science in the present. There are a wide range of open science activities, several of which we will tell you more about in this course. Open science is a collective name for a variety of practices. In this course, we will introduce you to different topics that illustrate the power of open science. The course covers open access to publication, fair and open data, fair and open software, increasing your visibility as a researcher, and citizen science. Let's have a look at some great examples from these different practices. The modules Publishing Open Access and Increasing Your Visibility as a Researcher illustrate the power of open science to circulate knowledge. We are indeed all still part of the Republic of Letters, and practices like open access publishing and increasing research visibility have greatly increased the audience of these letters. Open access publishings refer to free and open online access to academic publication. Ideally, an open access publication is for anyone to read, download, copy, distribute, print, search for, search within, and use in research or another way within a limited number of legal agreements. So it means that people, including the general public, scientists, industry, and policymakers, can access it for free, and they can use and build upon the result of scientific research, which leads to larger impact for individual research. Rather than sharing knowledge within your specific research community, open scientists reach out to broader scholarly communities to work together and also tell their research to the general public. With social media like Twitter and LinkedIn, broader audience can be reached. An analytics tool like Altmetrics illustrates how scientific knowledge now circulates widely also in the digital world. Open data and open software illustrate how open science leads to new sources and tools for researchers to use. Open data is defined as data that is freely available for everyone to use, share, and build on as they wish, without restriction from copyright, patents, or other mechanism of control. Offering data openly is highly relevant to support transparency of research, for advancing innovation and multidisciplinary research, and to increase the visibility of your work. However, opening research data does require very careful research data management, which you will learn more about during this course. A great example of open data is the Protein Data Bank, which is a fully open access digital data repository containing three-dimensional structures of protein. It has helped to illuminate the structure of molecules, to develop new drugs, and to teach students about the function of biomolecules in many STEM fields. Because drug companies also are users of the Protein Data Bank, this sharing of data enables and accelerates discovery and development of new drugs. For example, in the first year of COVID pandemic, over 1,000 protein structures related to COVID were uploaded to the data bank and helped researchers to understand and fight the pandemic. Another example of open science is open software. More and more researchers are making available the tools they create for their research to the larger community. A great example is Zotero, an open source reference manager developed as a project by the nonprofit Corporation for Digital Scholarship and now used by researchers all over the world in different disciplines. Finally, let's have a look at citizen science. This practice both leads to new resources for scholars to use, and it is a great way to involve the general public in research. Here, non-experts actively contribute to scientific research. A famous example of citizen science is Galaxy Zoo, where since 2007, over 100,000 of volunteers have helped classify millions of galaxies. The success of the project spawned a platform, Zooniverse, where other citizen science projects now have a home. Citizens today are helping to transcribe and mark letters part of the Republic of Letters in a project called SEMROLL. Their effort help to further document the history of the ideal of knowledge sharing that has shaped the open science movement. So congratulations! By having an understanding of the basic concept and origins of open science, you have now taken your first step on the route to becoming an open researcher.